We have come to the last panel of FinTwit 2022. This is the one, I'm going to call this one almost the airing of the grievances. If you've ever wanted to wonder, if you ever wondered like, oh, why does this platform do it this way and not that way? I want this feature, I don't want that feature. This is the panel for you. We're going to talk about what makes a good platform for traders, right? You all are traders out there. You all use platforms, and you all have things you like and things that you don't like. So we have now joining us a panel of people who all run trading platforms in some way, shape, or form and have input on those platforms. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce our moderator and have our moderator introduce the panelists. So if we're all good on the AV front, are we all good? We're all good. All right, Daniel Stack, why don't you come on down? He's the director of customer at AlphaStream. Let's give Daniel a hand. And the floor is yours, sir.
Perfect. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Thumbs up. Perfect. Well, I am excited to be best to save for last. And the panel, we've got a good conversation coming up. So Daniel Stack, I'm the customer director at AlphaStream. We're a technology company that works with a lot of digital platforms and brokers, really around helping them personalize the customer experiences. And so everything from personalized news to recommendations to search. And the panel topic is, and I'm really excited to be talking about this, is around how do you create the best platform for traders? And we're going to touch on things covering what kind of look around the corner looks like, or what the future of how technology is enabling platforms to move forward and what that looks like. We're talking a bit about the convergence of social and education and learning with platforms, and also around different tools and things that really help you with your trading experience. And so to join me, I've got three really fantastic panelists. So Caroline Bao, who's the Vice President of Marketing at Moomoo. So Caroline, please come on up. Neil Hamilton, who's the Vice President of Growth at Benzinga. And Ryan Krebs, who's the President of Cobra Trading. So before we dig in, I'd just love an opportunity for each of you to introduce yourselves and just very briefly, sort of your background and the company and perspective really you're bringing to the topic at hand. So Caroline, you want to kick off and just give a quick introduction?
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. And nice meeting everyone here. My name is Caroline Bao. I joined Moomoo about a year and a half ago, running its marketing, including branding and revenue for Moomoo and for this entire US market. What I bring to the table are two things. One is I am passionate about really leveling the playing field for all investors that want to take better control of their financial future. I'm a sort of a personal finance nerd to begin with. And also, throughout my career, I have always been marketing algorithm and its application in the real everyday life for consumers in whichever form. I used to run Facebook advertising products, Visa products. So in my world, I think retail trading really has taken on a brand new life that requires us to demystify trading and really make it easy. And Moomoo provides this great mission. So what about Moomoo? Moomoo really brings professional trading to the hands of everyone that treats it as a serious pro sport. And I'll unpack that later for you all. But I really believe Moomoo is here to help the retail traders who wants to win, who has the will to learn.
Amazing. Neil, I'll turn next to you if you want to give a quick introduction.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. My name's Neil Hamilton. I'm a trader. I'm also the head of growth at Benzinga, which basically means that I focus on building products that match the types of retail traders that exist. There are varying levels of sophistication out there in the market, and it's my mission to make sure that every level of retail trader out there has access to easy to understand information so they can make better investing decisions. I've been with the organization for about 5 years. We've seen a lot of growth during that time. starting off with a news terminal, Benzinga Pro, and then going into some education and trade guidance services, and have recently launched Benzinga Trading School and Benzinga Option School, which is live college-style courses, live streamed every morning for our retail trader audience.
Perfect. And Ryan, please.
I'm Ryan Krebs, president of Cobra Trading. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years now. I started out as a proprietary NASDAQ market maker, flipped back over to the FinTech side, and worked there for quite a while on a few different trading systems. And then recently rejoined Cobra Trading, who was previously a client of mine. And I just always felt like the retail side was really my home since I started there as a trader. So it's definitely something I'm very passionate about. And Cobra, I mean, we definitely, I guess, focus on the retail trader, the high-end retail trader, the active trader, specifically the ones that like to short stocks. So that's exactly where we try to put our efforts and focus towards. But we do a lot of other things than just that. But yeah, so we're here today, hopefully to help other traders out.
Perfect. Well, I've got three fantastic people, three fantastic companies to really talk about this topic. So the first question I really want to frame things around and talk about, hear from you about, would be around what do you think the future of retail trading looks like, and how is that relevant to your businesses? And I guess each of you probably also are traders and involved in markets. So what do you think, like, looking around the corner is a bit like? Because if you come back, I guess the market's constantly changed, and we've had this amazing renaissance of there's more people trading today than ever in history, and the market's changed constantly. And I think it'd just be interesting to hear from your point of view of how you think about it and what the future looks like from your point of view, your business point of view. Neil, I'll turn to you maybe just to kick things off from your perspective. You work with a lot of platforms. Benzinga is a platform. You've got a fantastic perspective. How do you think like the next kind of chapter of what retail trading looks like will be?
Yeah, it's more products for retail traders. I think you hit the nail on the head with options, especially in this market. Options are the easiest way for people to short something, especially for beginners. But an options contract is for 100 shares. If you're buying insurance on Amazon, for example, how many retail traders have 100 shares of Amazon on their Robinhood account or on their Moomoo account or on their Cobra account? Not many, none, I would say probably. People that have $10,000 accounts. So the future I see is similar to fractional shares. We've seen what that has done when that was introduced. Something like that with options. Fewer contracts in options. More ways to play volatility. We're seeing unprecedented levels of volatility. If you look at what's happening with VIX right now, it's at a higher base low than it has been since years and years ago. It's extremely strange, volatile times, historic. And with the new market structure of different market participants, we're going to need more products for people to play with that volatility than simply common stock options and what's available on most platforms today.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point of view, just on greater accessibility, really, on different products and ways to engage the market, and just, I guess, really to the point in time of what's going on today. That's a really good point of view. How about, I guess, Ryan, I'll turn to you. Do you have kind of a view on where do you think like the future of trading looks like as you engage with clients and customers at Cobra?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of our clients, right, and like how, some of the near-term future stuff that would be available, right? Like, we offer multiple platforms, from Cobra today, but, to his point, there are definitely some new features and new software and new technology being released all the time. So, I think, what's going to start happening is you see a consolidation of a lot of this, right? Because if you look at some of our traders today, they have so many different applications open because they trade so many different instruments. And, operationally, that's a lot to take on. And I know that there's platforms that will be released even as soon as this year that's their goal, is to try to bring a lot of that together. And it's not just the multi-instrument type platforms, right? I mean, people have been trying to add crypto to their platforms, in the last couple of years anyway. But, it's also the features, right? And another thing I think I see on top of that is a lot of the social, components that are coming into it. People are almost managing it two different things, right? You got your trading and then you got your social. Well, they want to make that more seamless, And I think you're going to see a lot of the apps, including some over here today, right, want to integrate with that. And so I think we'll see some of that.
Yeah, that's a really great point of view. Caroline, I'll turn to you. Well, what's I guess from Moomu's point of view, how do you think kind of the future is looking, and when you think about your own product roadmap and customers are talking to you, and what sort of triggers to mind of where you sort of see what's coming next for you?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing, to your point, by the way, just to reference some data points, you had mentioned about retail trading has seen a renaissance.
Yeah.
The data really supports that. From 2019, the retail trading average volume, daily average was 18 billion US dollars. That number was 32 billion as of November 2021, almost doubled. But with that doubling, if you kind of peel the onion a bit more, an increased amount was invested in ETF. They bought ETF, they never left, or otherwise they would buy AMC, these meme stocks, and that went all the way up to like as high as 600 million daily volume, which dropped almost to zero. So where we see as an opportunity is retail investors have really kind of woken up and realized that with little money that may not be viewed as quote unquote accredited investor in the past, they now are willing and able to invest. Data shows. But where they also have found newfound power is the fact that they can connect. And the meme stock saga really proved the point that even small sort of ants or apes, when united, can act like an institution. So we believe that our job and role is to better educate them, help them to feel comfortable and capable in making those decisions, and be willing to try the strategies that may have been exclusive to their knowledge. You know, sometimes people don't know what they don't know, so that they all can just achieve the prosperity that they deserve. The second piece is how to continue making that connection easy, so that information is accessible, as well as easy for them to find their like-minded investors and make decisions in a more confident way.
Yeah, I think some of the stats you mentioned are really phenomenal, especially in those are recent phenomenons too, just how markets develop. And I think retail participation markets, it's really been an amazing trend. And yeah, I think to complement some of those stats, just with some of the customers we work with, I think when we look at, one stat that blew me away is just total participation in equity volume in the markets. Retail, I think, takes up about 23% last year, and that was up from mid-teens the year prior. And that's an amazing stat in many ways. And digital access to total wealth. So if you think about people investing in markets traditionally, they go through advisors and such. That's gone up to, I think, about 20% of total. And it's growing very, very fast with people trading through digital platforms. And a renaissance is some term. I think it's interesting to hear just, I guess, both Neil and Ryan, your comments about kind of where we're heading and sort of the choppier waters and what people want, sort of navigate that and get through it. And I guess the journey people are on as well of, maybe they started trading and now they're learning how to get more advanced. And I would love to hear, kind of moving into another question around, is there, when you think about platforms and the type of users that rely and want to trade, there's a lot of across the landscape. And one thing that I don't know, and I'd love to hear your points of view on where the future is going, are we going to end up with mega platforms that offer everything, that hit huge scales? There's one platform for everyone to trade that has all the products, sophistication, that meets all sorts of customer journeys? Or are we going to end up with more niche, where it ends up being more specialist platforms for a certain type of person? It helps them really make the most of their journey when they want to trade with the markets. And I'd love to hear your perspectives on how you think about, I guess, how you're building your platforms, the users you're engaging with, and where you think the future's going. So I'd love, Ryan, I'm able to turn to you to kick this off. And how do you think about that?
When you say platform, I think two things come to mind for me. The last, 15 years of my career, being part of FinTech, I think of the trading side, the trading application platform, right? But being with Cobra, I think more of the broker and the servicing side of the platform, right? Because being a trader platform, it's all encompassing, right? So is there like one platform that, fits everybody? No, I don't think that unicorn's out there, right? And maybe one day there will be, I don't know. But kind of goes back to my first point in the future of it, right? Bringing all these awesome things together right into one. But I think, you know, if you speak in generalities, I mean, there's a lot of common platforms out there that people can use and that will fit most people's needs. But I think, you know, as you mentioned their journey, right, you grow out of it in some cases. Maybe your strategy changes, right? Your needs change. You know, new technology comes and your current, you know, system or broker can't support that, right? So you kind of grow out of it and you grow forward, and you have to find those brokers that specialize in certain things. And to give you an example of that, right, where you got technology and a broker, you know, I had a guy, you know, a gentleman stop by the booth the other day or yesterday, and he was talking about he was trying to short the stock in the system. Sure enough, you know, that system only had an easy to borrow list. And so the very next day he couldn't short the stock, right? So, but if he was with a system and a broker that had that capability, he could have been doing that going forward. And so that's something that we strive in. That's just an example, but I can definitely see how people just grow in their journey and they need to advance in other platforms and areas.
Yeah, please jump in.
Yeah, I'd like to build on that a little bit. I think so. I've encountered a lot of folks in the space that have tried to build like an omni platform, whether through integrating with other tools that exist out there, which I think is a fascinating, probably the easiest approach. But I think the reality is I don't think any business is poised to make a platform or a product or a research tool that's going to match the constantly changing landscape of traders and how they get an edge. Every market cycle, every year, even every month, there's a new popular edge. So we can look at the rise of dark pool data becoming available on certain platforms, the increasing understanding of how to use options chain data to make informed trading decisions. I think that's only going to diversify. The market is going to constantly be going through cycles. People are constantly going to be trying to find an edge. I don't think there's one platform or business that is equipped to provide that for everyone. So what I see is probably a landscape of products that are for niches of styles of trading that provide those edges. And I've seen platforms try to pull them together, small companies, and some have done some really fascinating things, but not yet. If anyone does, I think it will be a brokerage, though.
That's a cue for me.
Yeah, jump in, please.
So I was going to say, Mumu, we do believe that from a 80-20 rule perspective, we do meet the needs of at least 80%, roughly, don't quote me, 80% of the traders who are actively seeking better trading tools and data. So we actually provided, this is thanks to our mothership. Our parent company has been around for 10 years. So throughout the company, we've accumulated a lot of tools and features that we all have pumped into Mumu, where if you are a technical trader, you see really, again, at least sufficiently all of the common technical indicators, 60 of them. You know, there are hundreds of technical indicators, but we all know you don't trade on all of them at all times. So we meet majority of the needs with the 60 plus technical indicators and all kinds of charting tools. But if you would rather want to do a deeper value investing, you know, the fundamental analysis, we got those as well. So for Mumu, especially with regards to sort of the majority of the retail traders, we actually do consider we are meeting them of majority of their daily needs. But just as sort of, I like to think of us almost like Costco. We guarantee what we bring to you has been tested and it's good, but we may not be the Whole Foods. And there's always going to be the Whole Foods out there that will serve two of those points, that they will serve the niche needs in a better way. So ultimately, we believe platforms can all play well together, but we also collectively can help our traders to make informed decisions. In that role, Mumu's goal is let's provide you the one-stop shop so that it meets majority of the needs.
I love that analogy for Costco and Whole Foods, partially because I live in London, United Kingdom, and I'm from North America. And they have Whole Foods. Unfortunately, I miss out on Costco there, but that's more personal bias there. But
bring Mumu with you.
Yeah, well, you should come. Yeah, I mean, that's a pitch. Come to United. We'll bring Costco and that I think, yeah, it's a fair argument that the 80-20, right? There's a baseline of just being able to, have a strategy and be able to have the tools at your fingertips to be able to get access to financial markets and, do that. And then I guess, like you're saying, 20%. So if you want to go further for specific tools, you can definitely dip into that. And that segues well into sort of the topic that I'd love to talk around, which is technology enables a lot of innovation. And part of that's, I'll call this like leveling the playing field, where I have friends that, might work in institutional investing for hedge funds or for banks, and they have access to some amazing tools. And they've had it for a while, and the constant pace and R&D in that has been quite high. But the great thing with technology and fintech and innovation is sort of the barrier to entry to developing and innovating is dropping very quick. And so that next stage of new tools coming out, rolling out, has really been an incredible pace the last couple of years. And so I just love, I think I'd love to hear from each of you around what, you work really closely with your customers or users, and they give you great feedback around what really makes their research process, gives them that edge, that efficiency to really make good decisions. What are some things that really here, I guess what's kind of the next thing, or what are some things that have really become very popular, and sort of the 20% of let's look at more niche areas and very sophisticated tools that are helping people trade. Neil, is it all right if I kind of call you out on that one?
It's fine.
Your view on that?
Yeah. Well, unusual options activity has been massive. Look at what Unusual Whales has been able to do. People are just using tweets from that platform to make good trades. That's a fantastic edge, and it's a data set that's being distributed. That can live on any brokerage. It lives on Benzinga Pro. And it's some of these kind of seem like the soup du jour, if you will. So unusual options activity is very, very popular for now. But as I mentioned before, as market cycles change, more things will come up. I don't think anyone has really explained well to retail traders in a broad sense how to use dark pool data to successfully trade. There are plenty of products, but they sort of live in that 20% bucket. But I do see that sort of coming forward and being understood at large by retail traders and being used by newer traders, the majority of retail traders, for that edge.
Ryan, I think when we were chatting before, you said a lot of customers that really love and use Cobra shorting, and that strategy is really kind of one thing that they come to Cobra because you've got tools around that. I guess when you thought about how do you develop your platform and create tools that really help them with that, what are the things that come to mind really that matter most for them that I guess would be unique to kind of Cobra or just unique to that sort of strategy?
As far as the shorting goes, right? The platforms that we offer, have the shorting tools built into them, right? That allow the traders to basically, look the stuff up and research it electronically, right? Beyond an easy to borrow list. And so, where at other brokers, you can't necessarily, short the things. You can come there and you can basically shop on your own, right? And if you like what you see, you can select it. If there's nothing there, there's also a service beyond that. You talked about leveling the playing field earlier, right? It's not even just about that short locate tool, but even beyond that, the service behind it, there's even services behind that your brokers can offer you. And I'm sure, Mumu and team can speak to that as well, right? Because I think that's one of the advantages these days, right? That with some of these specialized brokers, they can offer you additional services that some of the bigger brokers don't necessarily offer, right? It's more of a white glove service. I like to think of it like, a prime brokerage for a hedge fund, right? Or institutional client. They pretty much offer them anything and everything. And I think that's what our goal is as well. So that's another tool that really helps them get to that next level.
And Caroline, I loved your argument on the 80-20, but when, I'm sure, do you ever get tempted to really what are the 20-21 and what are some tools that really stand out? Is there any kind of, things that you always think about? What if we could add this? That would really help people, or does anything like that ever come to mind when you're thinking about how you develop the platform?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, thanks to its long-lasting, business history, Mumu actually has been beloved by the users in terms of directly mentioning our product managers and our co-founders within the Mumu community. You can mention Leaf Lee, he is our co-founder, and you can tell him exactly what you want. And oftentimes, and folks are pretty direct. They will say, leave, I don't like this. And he dutifully, he will take a screenshot, he will bring it back to our work chat, and he will mention the product manager. So the speed of innovation at Moomoo is mind-boggling. Despite that I came from, as I mentioned, I work at Facebook before, I was still shocked with how fast that Futu, which is our parent company, and Moomoo can dedicate to the product development cycle. So one of the things, we have a lot, but I will just mention one thing. From our technology stack, one of the things we have done is we actually make big data very accessible, very digestible for all the Moomoo users through a lot of the AI features. Few things that we have enabled using AI. One of them is that AI monitor, anything unusual that you as a trader have defined and say, I'm monitoring this particular option or stock, and if the price changes by this percentage, alert me on my phone. And that actually gives traders the physical freedom to at least take a bathroom break, which is really awesome. I mean, obviously, walk your dog if you need to. So AI Monitor has been one of the really popular features. The other one that I thought was really incredibly fun and I can relate to is what we call similar charts. We all are doing, ultimately what we're doing is we're predicting where the price is going to go, right? So we're saying it's going to, based on the past history, based on the patterns, based on blah, 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 all the input, we think the price will go up or lower. What if the machine can ingest all that data? Ultimately, that's what AI is machine learning based on past patterns. What if you have AI that tells me what the price is going? That's what our similar charts is. And it does not discriminate. It tells you with any stock ticker you can find on Moomoo, will give you an AI-powered price prediction. So that I thought was really incredible. Are we super, super sophisticated yet? We humbly believe we could do better, but I have not seen other brokerage out there to provide AI-powered capabilities like this.
You all touched on a really good point. Caroline, I think you spoke to it very directly, just around, I think you said almost like the pace of innovation is incredibly fast. And your founder, I think that sounds like a very interesting journey of just him walking in and being like, you have to do this. I couldn't imagine that. Yeah, it definitely gets attention, but I think you each touched on it, which is markets evolve and move really quickly. And so you're offering, and the amazing thing about technology is you get to market really quickly, like you're talking about, options and dark pools. And, Ryan, you were talking about, customer service and really focusing around the customer journey around trading or shorting, sorry. And all those require you to be constantly listening to customers and really rolling out, new features and technology. And I think, is that something, I'll just put it as a question really around, it's not just the type of new features and technology and tools, but do you find the pace of innovation is really accelerated and the level of feedback that in that journey? Do you think that that's really been a big change in how your platforms are developing, and really the pace of change and how that complements, I guess, markets and how they're developing? Do you ever think of it in that way as well?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, so many people are coming into the market and they're finding traders need an edge that works for them, and they want to stick to that.
Yeah.
They're going to use that one thing. They saw a YouTube video that got them into trading, and it says just use this moving average, or just use this unique data set that can only be found on this brokerage or be found on some subscription platform or something like that. There's always something new. And it's how markets work. I mean, sometimes VWAP is like the only thing people care about. And then other times the only thing people care about is RSI or something like that. So having the customer's voice, as Carolyn said, going directly to product managers. I don't think there's any other industry where people are listening so directly to the community and have such a vocal and specific customer voice. We want exactly this. We want ADR. We want to be able to look at implied volatility, all this sort of stuff, and connect it to these other data sets to create a unique insight. So yeah, I mean, it's just always changing. The ability to bring that customer voice, and again, harnessing this phenomenon of communities forming, of social media, and then having platforms facilitate those communities. It creates a really good feedback loop between the customer and product building. And I think everyone on the stage right now is doing a pretty good job of. It's hard to keep up with from a development perspective, but we're listening.
Yeah, you're so right. Like it's amazing. I guess you're right. Feedback just around markets are very dynamic. And people, I guess there's probably no other area where people really spend as much time, invested around their own, I guess, success. You each touched on it, which is from a lot of people learning how to trade, people kind of coming along the journey of becoming, I guess, better traders, to people who are, do this full time, like they're professional traders. And with that, I guess at each part, iteration along that journey is, and I'd like just to kind of pose a question to the three of you around how you thought about, as you offer, digital platform trading experience to your users, how do you think about, do you bring education into that experience, or do you just, expect people really just to come in and they already got, the tools that they need? What sort of thoughts have you had around that with feedback from your users, but also where you think you're taking your own product? Caroline, I'll turn to you maybe to kick that off, because I'm really curious to hear about how Mumu thinks about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. For Moo, what we have found and believe in is everybody's learning journey starts at different points. Some may have been trading since they're 13. Some may have been trading, later in life. So we want to make sure education is accessible to all in whichever, whoever's pace, wherever. And to that end, we have developed a ton of content. The other thing we did also notice is the topic of trading, there isn't a sort of a easy to find master curriculum, unless obviously you come to Benzinga, they have curated a good list of content. We're good friends, we're partners. But at the same time, if you are just a retail trader, you just are starting out, you could stumble upon a video here and there. It's very fragmented. So we also believe in just a, educator duty that we provide well thought through holistic curriculum to our clients. The third one is we want to make sure the content that we provide is fully vetted. We're a SEC regulated broker dealer. So all the things that we ever were to produce to our clients, our lawyers have seen. We are very confident that they are not in any way misleading. We're not in the business to kind of do clickbait. So when we push this content, these are the three things we think about, which is you can consume at your own pace, whenever you want. You also have a holistic idea of what it is that you may not even know, but we should let you know so that this content is holistic. The third one is the educational content that we produce is as objective and as tested as possible. And that is, by the way, also, we always do this insight voting. We have these surveys asking our clients. The in-app education has been always voted really high. The last one, just real quick, the last one we also believe is learning comes in many forms. Some of you guys may have young kids at home, Some kids are more visual learners, some are more, just audio learners. So for the same topic, we are dedicating more resources to create various forms of education. It could be in the form of a text, long form article, it could be webinar, it could be video. We're always listening and trying to produce more to help traders out.
Yeah, I think a lot of points, almost all the points you say definitely resonate. Neil, I'd love to hear from you, because at Benzinga, I think it's one of the core things that you really offer people. And I know that you've been really involved in helping develop that proposition and listening to people, your users. And what's your sort of sense of things, of how you think about developing, I guess, and working with traders to make them, more efficient, know what to do, bring them on that journey, and how's that really, have you brought that home at Benzinga?
Yeah, I think the way we did this, we did a lot of research before we launched our trading school. And what we found was that the entry points to learning how to trade or invest are very fragmented. There are a bunch of books. There's so many books that have like similar titles on Amazon, and YouTube channels that have just phony traders, that are, not really giving you any information. So people don't have a starting point. So what we wanted to do was launch, and also people don't have a starting point, and there's tremendous hunger to become proficient quickly. People want to make money in the markets, and they're going after it with the same vigor of someone that really wants to go to university to become a doctor or something like that. So the way that we approached it was starting with just the foundations. This is how markets work. These are levels on a chart. These are the fundamentals, just 5 or 6 fundamentals that matter when you're doing fundamental analysis of a company. The absolute foundations need to be instilled first to orient people. And then what happens after that is that people tend to go off in different directions where they find their edge, their thing that works for them, because people have different lifestyles, people have different budgetary requirements, restrictions, and so forth, and so forth. But one thing that I think we did really well that is pretty different is we based it on online education. Plenty of people at Benzinga have finished their degrees online. I finished my master's online, and we based the platform on an online learning management system. So it's live streamed, college course style every day with a chat, with homework, with quizzes. And so it's fast paced, and there are people that enjoy that rigor. And I think as with anything that is going to become your job, if you're going to trade for a living, you got to go through a lot of rigor before you're proficient with it. So that's why I see being most successful.
Yeah, I guess, offering kind of, from beginner to advanced, really. If you want to make money, you want to make this a serious thing, you can help people on that journey 100% there. Ryan, I'd love to hear your point of view and just how Covert's thinking about this.
I mean, I love the fact that you guys, make a big effort to educate people, because, it's in our best interest, right? As a broker, we want our traders to succeed, and we want to set them up for success. And part of that is knowing what you're getting into and the risk involved. And I don't think the awareness out there is enough, right? I think we do need to take that more seriously. And, we try to encourage that with our traders. We do the same thing that you do. We're broker dealers, so we provide a lot of content that's informative and factual. And we have videos, we have blogs, we do all those things that most broker dealers do. I would say on top of that, we also have all of our support guys and the guys that answer phones and chats. They're all licensed brokers. They've all traded. So, they're familiar with it, they're familiar with the platforms, and we try to help in that aspect as well. But the other thing that we do see from our longer term, more successful traders is that they're part of trading groups, right? They have a trading family. And it may be an investment club, maybe a Benzinga, maybe just 5 guys sitting in a garage trading together, right? But I think that helps a lot as far as learning together and growing together instead of doing it on your own.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And I think, you learn on your own, but you also learn together. And I think one of the trends that I've observed that I think is no surprise to anyone is just around social and how that's become unbelievably intertwined with the trading experience. And I'd love to hear from the three of you really around how have you thought about the platform experiences you're offering users, and how do you bring social into that, or does social sort of just always operate around it? Neil, maybe I'll kick off with you. That's fine, just to talk
Okay.
about that.
Yeah, I think we might be going into contrarian territory with this one.
Oh,
so
far away.
The Twitter space, we're at FinTwit. Financial Twitter it's a whole conversation, and there are plenty of people that use just Twitter as their information source. But a lot of times, that information is slower. That information is subject to groupthink. A lot of folks piling into, as we know, certain phenomenons like meme stocks and so forth. But going back to the point made earlier, groups are absolutely essential. I know that Rob Smith was here previously, and he says, you don't trade alone. It's 3 people minimum that are trading together. And actually, we have an educator at Benzinga who today said that one of the number one things that we do as a group in our chat room trading is we collude. We encourage collusion in trading. And that's how hedge funds, that's how floor trader, or not floor traders, but big money managers, that's how it works. Traders have a phone call every single morning. This is what's happening in the market. Let's try to find some form of consensus, what direction we're going to go in, and we share information. We trade together, and I think that's new for retail folks. I mean, and during the dot-com bubble, you had forums. It's a very slow way of gaining information, getting insights from people that have similar styles to you. But these days, I mean, it's so fast. A chat room, Discord, voice, bringing those things onto platforms, it's a must-have.
Yeah, definitely. Ryan, I think he prompted this whole thing around.
Yeah, well, when we bring on new accounts, right? Like one of the questions we ask is, what's your investment knowledge? Where'd you learn? Where'd you, get your trading experience from? And almost always, they've gotten influence from somewhere. They're taking some online course, they're part of some group or something. And so, that's very telling as far as the social aspect goes, that it's out there and they're learning or part of something. I think it's great. Again, we're very careful with the social stuff because we're, a broker dealer. But, one of the things that we keep getting asked to do as well is integrate with social, platforms. For example, there's platforms that want to take our trade executions for traders and share the trade history so that trader can then share their strategies, with their followers, and people can learn from their wins and their mistakes and so forth. Sorry about that. Those type of things are being asked nonstop, and I think that helps the traders because they're kind of operating. They have their trading world, and then they have their social world. And how do you get them to seamlessly come together, right? And if you can integrate it somehow, I think that would help them tremendously. And the social aspect also helps us as well. There was a guy that stopped by yesterday talking about the trading forum he's in, and they post. The traders, they post their trades, especially the successful ones, right? And so, one was posted the other day where they got a short, and the other guys in the room couldn't get the short elsewhere, right? And so when they asked where they got it, it's over. Well, that's like the best kind of, I guess advertising we can ask for, right? So we love the social aspect. A lot of our clients are very, very socially, aware, and so that's just kind of how it impacts us in our trading.
That's super. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Caroline, like with Mumu, I think social is a big kind of anchor point for how you develop your platform from day one. What's that kind of, where did that start, and how's it evolving over time?
Yeah, I want to cue back our founder again. He was actually trading alone before he founded Mumu. He was trading his personal amount of money. He ended up hiring like several guys trading for him. But even that, he felt like I was trading like so alone. I had to make all these decisions in isolation. And his background was working in a social media platform before. And so he figured, nobody is doing this in trading. Why don't I start doing this? So basically, Mumu was sort of having this integral social component at day one or at birth. What we have seen, though, is social really has come to serve our clients in a very positive way, roughly 3 areas. First is our clients, they are able to connect. In this connect, that's sort of the collusion, take place very naturally. It's that you can mention anyone, you can follow anyone, you post things, and if you follow them, let's say I follow Ryan, I'll see his new posting every time I log back to Mumu first. So that gives me an opportunity to really connect, discuss, and have the insight, sort of the word on the street perspective as I think about a stock. The second thing we have made it easy for traders is you can find inspiration. We interview and research with a lot of customers and said, how do you find your stocks? Besides the YouTube, many of them, obviously, they go to social forums and they search for ideas. Again, back to sort of human nature. You don't know what you don't know. So social provides you that opportunity to see the things that other traders have seen that may be at least worth you checking it out. So we make that easy by a built-in function, and we rank sort, we filter everything by the stock ticker. So let's say you're interested in Stitch Fix. You find all the chatters just about that one stock. So that's utility, from a utility standpoint. We make that human nature work easy. And the third thing is we believe social is an area where you also can just further sort of understand and provide support to each other. I don't know if you all do this, but I have seen traders like to brag about the wins. I mean, it's the same as video games. If you come to the highest level, you want to brag about it. But in trading, where do you brag about it? That's in a way that's organic and that's not coming off weird. It's best to brag with the other traders. So we actually made this very easy. If you've seen your P&L, for a stock hitting whatever level that you're really proud of, we generate. It's kind of funny, but we generate a little graphic that shows the stock and it shows like how much was your return. You go, yeah, killed it. We just make it kind of fun in that sense.
Yeah, I love that. Just making it easier for people to do what they're going to do anyways, and getting that message out. Well, generally, this has been a real pleasure. So thank you for joining. Hopefully this gives, everyone here a great insight into just different things from a platform point of view of how can the experience for traders be better and where is it going, especially when we think about social, education, learning, different tools that are available, how markets evolve. And it's been a genuine pleasure. So thank you, Carolyn, Neil, and Ryan for joining and sharing your insights and how your companies really see the future. And I generally hope to kind of pick up the conversation at various points going forward. But with that, just please everyone give a generous round of applause for the panelists.